Meantime, our Yamiche Alcindor has also been following this case closely. She is right now getting reaction on the streets outside the White House. Yamiche.
Well, Judy, here in Black Lives Matter Plaza, there is a sense of bittersweet relief. There's relief that the video of Derek Chauvin kneeling on the neck of George Floyd for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, that it is now, the consequence of that is him being a convicted murderer. But people here tell me that justice would be George Floyd still being alive. Justice, they tell me, would be Black Americans in this country not being some 3 times more likely to be killed by the police than white Americans. That is the reality that people face. And while I hear from people that they are very pleased with this verdict, my understanding is that people here say that this has to be the beginning of the change, that this can't just be one case, that it needs to be systemic change. And I also have to tell you that I've been hearing names of other people who got killed by the police, including Breonna Taylor and Tamir Rice and so many others. It is so rare for an officer to be convicted, and people feel that today. And I have to also tell you, people still feel so hurt by what this country just endured over the last year. Remember that people started gathering here at Black Lives Matter Plaza because of the death of George Floyd, and now people are here celebrating a bit, but still very much hurt, still very much traumatized.
And Yamiche, of course, your regular beat is the White House, where we saw President Biden earlier today essentially pronounce Derek Chauvin guilty before we even heard the jury's verdict. He said the verdict in his mind was very clear, and we understand that shortly after the verdict was announced, he called the George Floyd family.
That is right. We are told that the president, as well as the vice president, watched this verdict happen in real time at the White House, and that soon after, President Biden phoned the brother of George Floyd. Earlier today, the president did say that he was praying for the right verdict. He also said that there was overwhelming that this officer should essentially be convicted. The White House was trying to be a bit cautious after the president said that, but we now can report that the president feels relieved, that the president is calling this family a family that he says he's grown close to, a family that he says understands him and understands the loss that he's endured as someone who's lost his own children. So here's the president again reaching out to the Floyd family. Again, we're supposed to be hearing from the president at some point later this afternoon. And I can imagine that White House officials tell me we will hear from a president who is empathetic, who is going to be able to say that this is a sense of loss, that even though this verdict went right, that there's still a sense that there's going to be someone missing at that dinner table, and that George Floyd, the brother, the uncle, the father, he will be definitely missed, and that this country has to do better, that there could not be another George Floyd after what we've just endured.
And Yamiche, just quickly, how much effort, muscle do you believe from your reporting the president is going to be putting behind this police reform legislation in the Congress right now?
From my understanding, police reform in this country is a top priority of President Biden. The issue, of course, is that there is legislation moving through Congress, but that the Senate is so closely tied that if Republicans can't get on board, they don't see a way to get legislation through. So I'm told that Senator Booker, as well as Senator Tim Scott, 2 African-American men who are serving in the Senate, they are working on this legislation together. And I'm told that President Biden is going to be involved in those talks, going to be involved in trying to get the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act pushed through. And in this moment where people are now where George Floyd is top of mind, there's a sense that maybe some sort of bipartisan legislation on policing can get through, given that this officer is, of course, now convicted. There is a sense now that there is a line that police cross, and that both sides of the aisle should be able to get on board in some way to say we can do better as a nation.
Yamiche Alcindor, very close to the White House right now at Black Lives Matter Plaza, just a block or so away from where the White House is. Yamiche, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.